this video, you're going to see this IKEA cabinet slash drawer setup system rewrapped. And so what I love about rewrapping furniture is that instead of throwing it out, you can repurpose it, in this case with some 3M dyno oak. And here are the tools that are going to be used to transform it. And if you're on the Wrap Institute for a few years now, if you've seen this video, this is actually from my one of the pieces of furniture for my daughter's bedroom. Did this years ago, and it was a standard white IKEA cabinet slash drawer system, and put some gloss metallic film on it in the top sections there and the front, just to kind of bling it up. Daughter loved it, but now she's older now, 11, and she doesn't want it in her room anymore. She wants different furniture in there. Totally get it. And instead of throwing it out, we're going to repurpose it for the bathroom right now. So again, those colors, don't quite fit in the bathroom. So when I took the old piece off, tore a little top section off there. So I'm putting a little extra adhesive promoter on there just because it was a low surface energy. Cut up the sections, and so in this video I want to show a lot of the different techniques used, just because it has a lot of tight corners, different install style than gloss metallic film. The gloss metallic film that I was installing, which was around 3.3 mil thick. This is much thicker. This is around 8 mil thick, super stiff, high aggressive initial tack. So the key of this is just to really make sure that you kind of squeegee the flat, pick it up high on the sides, and tuck it in super deep. Is going to transition towards the front, so very important to make relief cuts and angle it 45 degrees away from where I want to wrap. Run a finger to make a super tight seal on that corner, just because of how thick it is. You see how I'm pinching my fingers to make it extra tight. Then come back in with a squeegee, make another relief cut on the side because I want to tuck it into that gap there, because it kind of goes down towards that face at the front. Use the hard side of my squeegee to get it in nice and tight. Once it's in nice and tight for a tuck and cut, cut it away super clean with a very sharp blade. Then do the exact same things for the side. Tuck it again one more time hyper tight with the hard side of the squeegee, then transition down towards the front. And on the back, which is going to be facing the window of the bathroom, don't need to wrap there, so cut it flush with a beveled in cut, good to go. So I want to show just down for this section here, because it has a vertical 90-degree upturn there. Put a little masking tape there just to lower the surface energy. On the other side I didn't have to do that because there's empty space. So a really good tip to use masking tape. Now that the tops are done, going to transition it towards the top now and do the sides. So instead of when my daughter had it wrapped, just basically wrap the tops and those little slivers at the front. Now we're going to wrap the whole sides, but it has screws in it, so I removed the screws first. This has direction on it, so I want to make sure the direction matches with what I just put on. Squeegee it on nice, easy, and straightforward. Didn't have to put masking tape on this one because this is a textured dyno oak film, which has a low surface energy, so I can get away with not putting masking tape on there, so it's always good to know your surface energy. Here, I'm going to cut it right to the plastic transition right there. So that's actually plastic, so no surface energy there. Now put the screws back in, but notice that I don't cut out the holes for the screws right now. I'm actually drilling right through the dyno oak film, bridging the gap. It actually sucks in nice, clean, and tight, so a good tip for that. Now I'm going to come back to this bigger piece now, which has lots of different screws. I'm going to take off 3 screws to start, because if I take off all the screws, this piece might be too loose. So a good tip is just to take off 3 screws. Then I'm going to screw these back in. Again, notice that I'm not cutting out those holes ahead of time. Then with all 3 screws in and this half done, now I can take off the screws from the other side. Keep in mind that some little debris comes out, so I always come back with a tack cloth, do the other half, and put the screws back in. So very good tip for that. Then click the blade and just kind of cut off the sides. These sides are a little different. So what you want to think is sometimes you transition the material around the sides and sometimes you bevel cut it. So I'm bevel cutting here because it's super thick. Notice my free hand is pulling away, and again my blade is super sharp because this is super thick. And just to make an extra good cut here, because now I'm cutting right on this little tiny sliver break between the plastic and the wood on the side. So notice my blade is now, instead of angling away, it's perpendicular. And because I'm using a 30-degree blade and it's extra sharp, it holds that gap super tight. And if I have a good steady cut there, now it comes off nice and clean and symmetrical. So once the sides are done of the left side, now I'm going to pick it up and switch it off to the big side. So the big side, exact same techniques as I showed you before, just a bigger piece. So as I transition around, wipe it down, degrease it. I'm going to remove the 3 screws at the top, do the top section there, then come down towards the bottom, squeegee, nice and easy and straightforward. Remove the screws at the bottom after putting the screws back in at the top. Clean it a little bit, finish the bottom nice, easy, and straightforward. So again, more coverage on this particular one, but again, because it looks, now we're covering with Dino, this is something that can go in a different part of the house. So what I love about this, and again, same thing of tucking and cutting and feeding in the gap right now, is if you think big picture now, you don't have to take off the old wrap, and in this case, for example, taking off the old wrap actually damage the furniture. So sometimes it's better just to wrap over what you did, run your finger here, tuck it in nice and clean. So, and I like the transformation power of this. So not only is it, good for the environment, so we don't have to buy new furniture, but what I like about it too is just, it has that kind of, different look in the house. So again, you can just transform anything super quick just with a nominal amount of film. And again, this is Dino film, a little on the expensive side, but again, this looks really, really cool and actually makes it look much more expensive than it does. So now this is a shot of the final result. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Justin Bake. Two of my favorite things about wrapping is the ability to transform a fairly mundane object. In this case, this is a table and drawers that I was putting together for my daughter's bedroom years ago, and it was white from IKEA, pretty straightforward and simple, and economical, and wrapped it with red gloss metallic. So my daughter wanted red in her room, and I could customize it. So this is really good, and this is actually a video on the Wrap Institute. So I love that transformative power of wraps. But what I also love is how by never stop learning, you always change your techniques and take it to that next level. So in this video, I want to show how to transform this table again, but using new techniques and new tools to make it even better, and also just thinking about the material. And sometimes it's better to change your techniques based on the material you're wrapping. So again, doing here, 45-degree cut on the corner with my knife, made a little tiny overlap right on the edge right there, and then this is the transformed table, wrap the legs, all that kind of good stuff. But this was 3 or 4 years ago on the Wrap Institute. Now my daughter's 11, and she said, "Papa, you know what? I'd like to get a new, I want that desk. I like my desk, and I like my door and all that kind of stuff. But I would, I'm older now, and I don't want to quite that color. Can I get something different?" So I said, "Of course." So instead of buying a new table, all that kind of stuff, which is expensive, all that not great for the environment, I'm going to repurpose this table, and I'm just going to wrap over what I just had done a few years ago instead of taking it off. And if I took it off, it actually might damage it. And because it's a high gloss surface, I just kind of cleaned anything that was kind of hanging up on the edges. And now I'm going to wrap it with 3M Dino film. But remember I said earlier, know your material. The red gloss was 3.3. This Dino film is multi-layered, and it's around 8 mil thick. So totally different ball game. And because never stop learning, and I'm always picking up new tools and tricks, the new tools that you're going to see for this one work even better for this. So because it's directional and it has a pattern on it, I crease the sides right now. And by creasing the sides, when I flip it over, I'll know exactly how to line it up, because ideally I would use the grid on the liner right now to line it up. But once I flip it over, it's going to be hard to see. That's why I crease it. Now I get this great backing paper cutter from Yellow Tools, slide it through. Now it's ready to rock. And notice that I see that little crease right there. That crease is going to go on the corner anyway. So once I pick it up now, I'm going to make a slight adjustment, and I'm basically just going to make sure that that lines up right there on the corner. Once it does on the left and on the right, now I can flip it up and lock it in. So I'm just going to get my squeegee with the felt right now, keep the liner on, because the adhesive for this is super, super, super aggressive. Don't want to go full cowboy or cowgirl right now. Want to make sure that I keep that liner on as much as possible. Once it's on the flat, roll it up super tight, goes right in the trash bin. And now I'm ready to cut. But instead of doing my cut that I did before, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a special tool that this is from Yellow Tools. Really cool stuff. So I make sure that I get it right set on the corner, run my finger to get it nice, clean and tight, and that's because it's a multi-layered film. But instead of cutting it with my knife now, I'm going to come in with this tool from Yellow Tools. Really, really awesome stuff. Once I lock it on the corner, because the high initial tack, it really holds it nice and clean, trim off the excess so I get a good clean cut in from the side. And this has a nice good groove, and I'm going to cut a clean 45-degree cut on either side. Very straightforward. Then I'm going to pull off this little excess piece right here, remove the piece, the special tool right now, awesome stuff, set it aside, and then run my finger around the top edge, get a nice good tight form on the corner, and then lock it in right into the base. And that's going to form a perfect butt joint. So I come down here on the side and lock it in nice and clean. And this is the first time I've used this tool, and I'm just like, this is super, super cool. Michael showed me this when I visited Yellow Tools in 2019, and I thought, this works absolutely perfect. So good, nice, clean finish there. And what I didn't like about when I did the corners first though, even though I love the corner, I noticed that a lot of material is buckling up right on the edge there because I did the corners first, which I normally do on cars. But by doing the corners first, and because this material is thick, and I pop in the corner right there to make sure it's nice and flat, standard dyno tricks. Once I get it set though, what I didn't like about it is look at how much excess material I have in the middle right now. So again, I'm kind of, even though I love this new tool, first style of using this, I didn't like how much material was bunching up there because obviously I might get some wrinkles, might get some tension on the edge. And I did use some triangle technique to work it out. And right here, I have to pick it back up, and that doesn't quite get a perfect butt joint. So what you're gonna see right here is a different style technique on the corners. Notice I pick up the material super, super high with my fingers, kind of pinch them in the corner so it doesn't touch the high surface energy of this tool. Once I make that cut, pull it slowly away, nice and straightforward. But instead of doing the corners, installing that corner in the butt joint, I hold off and I'm gonna cut the other corner first. So I pick it up high, drop it like it's hot, and then once it's set up right there, got the access point with my blade. My blade comes into the corner nice and clean. Same thing here, super clean, straightforward. And I love how the material just holds it in perfect position. Pull it away, nice, straightforward. And then once that's set, you can see now it's loose. And I'm gonna do the flat part in the middle first. So I run my finger across to crease it, pinch it now to make sure it's super, super tight. Now I'm going to come in with a squeegee stroke, and you see how much less tension is on that flat area there. Very, very important to do this middle section first. So I'm going to squeegee right across about 1/4 inch. Double check the corner, make sure it's super, super, super tight. You have to do that with those multi-layered films, especially if this one is metallicized, a little stiff. Then I take it flat into the base. So with this section done, now I can comfortably do either side, doesn't matter which one I do first, but I always cut the bottom first, and again, bevel your blade in just a kiss right now because it's super, super thick. Now once that front part's done, now I can come in and do the side. This is a very long thumb right now just to kind of get it creased. Once I do the thumb, I do the pinch. Now this pinches the corner, very easy and straightforward, but you can see just doing these in long, smooth strokes. Speaking of smooth strokes, I'm going to come in with my squeegee right now and do the side and just a nice, easy setup. So 3 strokes right there, now it's down tight. Run my finger for the bottom, just smooth, nice workflow, not working fast, just working steady. Click the blade so it's super sharp. You see that beveled in cut, beveled in probably around about 10 degrees, 20 degrees. And you can see how it butt joints there right nice in the corner. But because it's thick, again, just come in with the side of my squeegee, pound it down, makes it nice and flat. Now we're good to go. So again, changing my techniques now using that yellow tools is awesome. So it cuts that corner, perfect butt joint, and the quality is super awesome. So instead of buying a brand new table, we got a super glossy table like this. You see the red legs though. My daughter was like, you know what? I love the fact that the legs are white and the table is now gold. So why don't we just make the legs white, and it looks really good. It actually goes in with the drawers there, and there's a separate video on the Wrap Suit how to wrap those drawers and transform it. Here's a shot of the final result. So again, I love that dyno on here, and again, my daughter's older and she's got a cool table to fit her age. Awesome stuff. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Justin Pate. In part 3 of this IKEA redo of some of the furniture in my daughter's bedroom, we get to the drawers. Now these drawers are wrapped in gloss metallic. We got red, gold, and purple. And this is a standard white cabinet, and she wants it, changed now, and we're going to wrap it with 3M dyno film. And if I took the wrap off, based on the readings of earlier furniture that we did in this series, the kind of cabinet with drawers and also the table, it would rip off the top surface layer, which actually would lower the surface energy. You might see some of that texture through the dyno film. So I'm actually wrapping right over the wrap, and in this case, just making sure that the grain goes in the same way, kind of crease it right on the grid on the liner right there. We use the backing paper cutter from Yellow Tools to do that double cutter, nice and easy and straightforward. Notice I'm lining up that crease with the top right there so it stays super symmetrical. In this case, the grains are going horizontal. Lock it in the permanent hinge with a squeegee stroke, then squeegee one half, squeegee the other half. Very easy and straightforward. Leave the liner on. Now I'm going to cut 45 degrees across on the excess film here. If you watch the table video right now, this is a great tool from Yellow Tools right now. Just anchor this on the corner, and I'm going for a perfect butt joint. So by cutting in at the 45 degree angle points, my blade just goes in nice, easy, and straightforward. So cut 45 degrees on either side, or maybe if you want to call it the 90 degree angle point. Take out the little triangle right there at the front, and I'm doing my corners first and cutting them out nice, easy, and straightforward. Pull out the little sliver, And then I lay the front down by running my finger, pinch the corner, notice my free hand's pulling down with a little bit of tension, and I lock it on the flat, nice, easy, and straightforward, and then just cut it right to the gap. Nice open section right there. Didn't have to go back and tuck it. Once pull it away, excess of film, just come back in and seal the deal. Very easy and straightforward. Now rotate it for just nice, easy body position. Sometimes if you are working in your home in this case, or maybe you're working at a client's office, the floor is wood, so just make sure that the bottom of the floor is nice and soft so you don't scratch the wood. Pick it up nice and high right now and slide it in right now. Very easy and straightforward. This is super high tech, so if I don't pick it up, it might grab and be a little awkward to get into that corner. Make your cuts on the corner, exact same steps for the back, except for here on the back, it comes in nice, clean, and straightforward, but I do have to come make sure and tuck it. So I tuck it in with my finger, then I come in with my squeegee, then finally with the knife. Very easy, straightforward, 90-degree angle, come back and seal the deal. We'll add heat a little bit later because heat, this material is super thick, so you want to activate the adhesive. Now finish this side. So do the front first, back second, and then the sides last. With the top done now, and because it's got a nice easy gap at the top, so I don't have to make sure that I do the sides or the top first, doesn't matter the sequence. Here at the bottom is nice plastic railing around the side, so I wrapped it earlier with the gloss film, comes off nice and easy, no damage there because it was plastic. And I'm going to actually leave that white, not necessarily because the material is thick, but my daughter wanted a kind of combination. And earlier on the table, if you can see those legs on the left side of the screen, the legs were white, so it matches the gold table. So I'm going to do the same logic here, is add little slivers of white, the original of the IKEA furniture, and they're just going to add a nice little two-tone color to it. So I'm going to squeegee this on nice, easy, and straightforward. Got the grains going in a vertical direction right now, so once these are set, 3/4 is done. Pull the liner off right now, but keep the liner on nice and easy and straightforward just to the end. Pull it off nice and smooth. Now here at the top, very, very, very important to tuck that gap in super tight. Run a finger now. This is going to wrap around the back side. Tuck the material into the gap, and then cut 45 degrees away to make a nice, good, clean transition. That not only is it going to make a good, clean transition with the relief cut there, but it's not going to come short. So that's why you always want to make a 45-degree relief cut. Then you come down, if you make a relief cut at a 90-degree angle, you might come short on that transition. Now it's a straightforward tuck along the back. Very important to constantly click a blade here when working with multi-layered thick film right now. This is around 8 mil thick and metallicized. So constantly clicking the blade to make it sharp is really critical right there. And then here, just making sure my blade stays in the gap, nice, easy, and straightforward. And then come all the way down. So you can see just nice and easy and straightforward. I stop my blade and I don't go too far because I might cut the cabinet that I'm wrapping on right now. And notice the cabinet that I'm wrapping on is in good, easy body position, and it's resting on some books, so I don't scratch the top of the cabinet. Very important for that. And I would have wrapped the top of the cabinet, but it's super high, textured film right there. I mean, so there's really sticking up nice and high. I was going to put some PPF on it or some lamination, just so it didn't scratch, but I didn't think it was going to stick for the long term, and it might look a little silver, so that's just a thought on that. And then just kind of smoking down the sides right now, just running my finger, pinching the corner, setting up the edge right now. This is an empty edge right now, so I'm going to make sure I do a little tuck and cut at the top, make sure it's nice and loose. Now that the top and bottom are cut, run my finger just to double check the sides, and now just doing a flush, kind of slightly beveled in cut on the sides, just to make it clean and flush. So not wrapping too far inside the drawer is going to leave that little sliver of white just because it looks really good with the bottom. Once I make the cut, don't let my knife jump off. Just wait for a second until the material is nice and cut clean. Now that that's set up, the side's done, good to go. Now we're to the cabinet. So the other side was done exactly the same, don't need to show that. And now we're here to the front. And now the front, I'm going to just clean it up a little bit. Earlier when I wrapped this a couple years ago, and this is on the Wrap Institute, that I took the gold metallic to the top, and that top section there is just actually a little tiny section that's a little plastic. So what I did now is I did a flat cut before, but I'm actually going to cut it right to the base of the plastic, very, very thin, tight edge. So notice I cut my blade so it's super sharp, came in with a perpendicular cut, clean that up a little bit. And now I'm going to flush cut the bottom just to remove any excess film. Very, very, very important. This lays super flush because I'm going to come back in with the Dyno right now. And very important right now, again, always stop and know what you're working with. I'm working with a directional film that has a grain. I want to make sure the grain matches up with the other doors. Once it matches up, I pull it back out for the cutting. And now here, I'm not actually going to cut to the bottom of the plastic. I'm going to bevel my cut at the top. Nice, clean, and straightforward. Super clean and symmetrical. That's because I had a super sharp blade. And then same thing here, just make sure it's down nice and clean. flush cut the bottom, and then the sides wrap around just for nice coverage. Clean it up a little bit, and here's a shot of the final result. So again, instead of buying a new cabinet, it's just transformed with a little 3M dyno. Didn't take the old wrap off, which is super clean and straightforward. Hope you enjoyed the series. Thanks for watching. Justin Pate.